Welcome to today's webinar, hosted by Digital Beanie. The topic for today's webinar is Intelligent Automation. Your presenters are Glenn Ansell and David Pereira. Glenn is a recognized thought leader in the world of technology, as well as a serial entrepreneur who founded his first technology company at the age of 22. He joined the Global Entrepreneur Network Endeavor in 2008, and currently he is business unit lead at Tangent Solutions, a leading robotic process automation and Microsoft Cloud delivery partner. Glenn will start today's presentation by giving you a high-level overview of how intelligent automation and technology is impacting the world of finance and accounting. David Pereira is an advisor around the future of work, with specific attention of the technologies of the future, their implementation, integration, and the impact they will have on future workforces. He has an educational background in engineering, accounting, and marketing, as well as working experience in small to medium organizations. David has first-hand experience of the importance of technology and the impact it has on modern businesses, and how technology can help businesses to be more efficient and more competitive. After Glenn, David will take over the presentation and guide you through a thorough discussion of intelligent automation and its various components. Additional information with regards to the various topics may be posted in the chat box to the right of the video presentation. Please feel free to ask questions during the presentation by making use of the chat box to the right of the video and presentation. Both the webinar recording and presentation will be available at the end of the webinar. I now hand you over to Glenn and David.
Hi there, my name is Glenn Ansell. I head up the Intelligent Automation Unit of Tangent Solutions and look forward to talking to you today about the winds of change sweeping through the finance and accounting profession as we know it. The narrative surrounding artificial intelligence and the impact machine learning and its robotic counterpart is likely to have on our future careers is one that sparks uncertainty in many associated to the future of work. The robots are coming, and they're coming for your job, seems to be an overwhelming sentiment shared by many finance and accounting professionals, and one that is touted in the mainstream media quite aggressively. The fact that technology has progressed exponentially over the last couple of years cannot be denied. Many functions traditionally performed by human beings will become redundant. This is not where the story ends, however. Artificial intelligence and intelligent robotics are limited in many aspects. Let's take a look at two of those limitations. Firstly, robotics cannot apply fluid thinking. They are rules-based or algorithmic, premised on historical data to predict future outcomes. Humans, on the other hand, have the keen ability to use heuristic and intuitive decision-making. Secondly, robots cannot build relationships, a key element to business today, both internal and external to organizations. In short, the human experience is one that has not diminished in its value to business, but rather our ability to apply more focus to it has increased in favor of administrative tasks. Let me dispel a myth for you. New technology does not take jobs. Rather, it reinvents them or creates new ones. The invention of the automobile, for example, did not displace employment for workers. It in fact created a myriad of new ones. This came in the form of functions such as automotive manufacturing, automotive repair, fuel stations, and many more, all requiring the human workforce. We are not in the state of out with the old and in with the new, but rather a place of transition that brings about change. More importantly, it brings about opportunity. Opportunities for forward-thinking professionals to capitalize on the benefits gained from such technological advancements. These technologies will bring about new challenges that require the expertise of domain experts in their field of practice. So what are some of these changes we are seeing? Firstly, the drive to robotic process automation, or RPA, seems to be the first strong entrant into the field. relative to a reinvigorated digital transformation initiative in finance and accounting. A multitude of new possibilities has opened up in the domain of practice, enabling finance and accounting professionals to amplify your efforts in high-value and strategically aligned outputs using technologies such as RPA. This is in contrast to number crunching and administratively intensive exercises. AI and robotics leaves professionals free to explore the more creative realms associated within your role, while both enhancing and reinforcing your value in advising, generating strategic inputs, problem solving, and in general leadership across all areas of your organization. This is not a new phenomenon by any means. It has been happening since the inception of the spreadsheet, later followed by accounting software and enterprise resource planning systems or ERPs. The types of areas currently served by technologies such as robotic process automation include the processing of functions such as accounts payable, accounts receivable, reconciliations, automating of audit functions, and many more across all areas of business. Let's take a look at an example of such a technology.
Hi, today we'll be covering the automation of invoice processing from start to finish. This will be done through the seamless human-robot collaboration from a single platform. The goal is to remove the repetitive, mundane activities that are weighing down valuable resources. The robot will only bring in employees when needed to make critical decisions. In this demo, we will use UiPath to automate invoice processing, where a robot looks for invoices that needs to be processed, extracts the required data from the invoice, processes the invoice, and finally submits it into an ERP system, in this case, SAP. During this process, if the robot needs human assistance, it automatically creates a task for a human and moves on with other jobs until the human performs the required action. Here, we will look at two scenarios. First, an invoice backed up by a purchase order. Second, an invoice without a purchase order. Let's look at the scenario where the invoice has a PO number. The robot picks up the invoice and extracts the data such as the PO number, invoice date, vendor name, total amount, net amount, and tax amount. As this invoice has the PO number, the robot matches the line items in the invoice with the existing PO in the SAP system. Here we see the robot entering the basic invoice data into SAP, followed by the PO number and the invoiced amounts. This lets SAP perform matching to the PO amounts and quantities. In this case, upon posting it in SAP, you'll notice the document is posted with a blocked for payment message due to the PO invoice unit price mismatch. Immediately, the robot creates a new task for a business user to review this matching exception and to make the final approval. Here, we see the task in the inbox where its status is labeled as unassigned. The respective user can either accept this task or assign it to someone on the team. In this case, we see the user accept the task, approves it, to confirm that the higher unit price is accepted. As soon as the user approves the invoice, the next available robot gets triggered to continue the process. The robot then locates the blocked invoice in SAP and releases it for payment. In the next scenario, we see the invoice selected doesn't have a PO number. The robot creates a task and sends it to the task inbox for a business user to perform geocoding of this non-PO invoice. Upon seeing the task in the inbox, the user accepts the task, checks the invoice, and adds the respective GL codes to each of the line items. Then submits a task as complete. While the user acts on this task, the robot is free to pick up on other jobs. Immediately, an email and a mobile notification is sent to the manager for final approval. In this case, the manager has the Orchestrator app installed on her mobile phone. Once the manager opens the task on her mobile application, she can see the invoice details and add any comments, and can either accept the task or assign it to others on the team. Now, the robot continues the process, logs into the SAP application, enters the required data from the invoice, and then updates the newly provided GL codes. Once the GL codes are successfully submitted, we can see the document number at the bottom of the screen. In this demo, we saw the power of automation, allowing humans and robots to seamlessly collaborate to execute a complex process. The possibility of automation supported by bringing humans into the loop are endless. Get started on your automation scaling journey today.
The next major drive comes from the addition of AI on top of existing processes, or RPA. Artificial intelligence is the use of advanced statistically based algorithms to make predictions and have machines make informed decisions relative to historical data. This is in its infancy in the accounting and finance profession, but will continue to grow in leaps and bounds. So where to from here? With the pace at which technological enhancements are happening, it is imperative that you, as a finance and accounting professional, not only stay abreast of these changes that impact your industry, but rather that you immerse yourselves in the art of the possible and understand where the appropriate places are for the deployment of such technologies. Although technology pundits have a key role to play in the delivery of AI and robotic technologies, it is finance and accounting professionals that should take ownership and lead the charge of such developments. You should be invested in ensuring best practice of deployment, ethical application thereof, and that standards are adhered to in context of the industry frameworks. It is the role of the accountant to ensure that such technology is deployed as a means and not an end in itself, by capitalizing on the insight gained with the rich information now readily available to increase the strategic insight and decision making in organizations. In closing, understand, embrace, and harness technology. Work with and within these new trends. They have historically and will continue to support humanity's progress. I sincerely hope that you have found some of the elements discussed today informative and thought-provoking. Today's discussion is merely an introduction to the many topics to be explored in the future, and I invite you to join us in these sessions as you take on the challenge of a changing profession as we know it, and hope to see you immersed in the implementation and development of these technological advancements for a betterment of the industry as a whole.
So let's jump into what we're going to be talking about today. Today, the topic is intelligent automation. We'll run through the introduction of what intelligent automation is, it's the importance of process discovery and optimization of those processes, data and the Internet of Things, and how that applies to the financial space. Robotic process automation. This is going to be a fun one. Whenever we do an implementation in any small, medium, or large organization, finance is always the place we start. It's got the most opportunity for automation. We'll then jump into artificial intelligence and how finance professionals can use artificial intelligence to help them make better day-to-day decisions. And finally, we'll chat about your journey, how you start in your organization, and the steps that you need to make in order to make intelligent automation a real thing in your organization. But before we go any further, let's jump into what intelligent automation actually is. According to Deloitte, intelligent automation is the combination of artificial intelligence, automation, and business process management. And the best part is that it applies to every single department within every single industry. It's just that influential in the world today. But why? Why is IA becoming such an influential technology in today's world? Well, intelligent automation, or IA, is the epitome of digital transformation, a word that has been on the tip of leaders' tongues for the last 20 years. It leads to significant efficiencies, scalable revenue models, and access to real-time information to make critical decisions. Another thing that IA is helping is around scalability. What I mean by this is the old-fashioned route of employing more people to scale business is just not true anymore. With the help of automation, and specifically intelligent automation, you can scale a business with not necessarily employing more people. So we've touched on the definition of intelligent automation. Let's touch on the different facets of intelligent automation. You've got robotic process automation. This is made up of your virtual workforce, your orchestration of that workforce, and that center of excellence of where all your virtual robots are working. Artificial intelligence. This consists of pattern recognition, sequence labeling, intelligent decision making, natural language processing, and sentiment analysis. Again, we will touch on this a bit later in this presentation. And lastly is data, the importance of data, and specifically how IoT, or the Internet of Things, is helping us collect more and more data. So we'll dive into data collection, data transmission, and data response. All these facets make up what intelligent automation actually is. The main thing that finance professionals need to keep in mind about IA is its ability to cut FTE costs, increase productivity, improve accuracy, reduce turnaround time, and achieve flexibility to manage fluctuations. So let's start where all IA projects start, and that is with process discovery and optimization. Process discovery is always the start of any IA project, and process discovery leads into normal business process management. Business process management, or BPM, consists of process identification, process mapping, process reengineering, and process optimization. Why am I starting over here besides just starting every project for IA? Having an effective BPM strategy is crucial to any organization. And it's the first step, as I said, for our IA projects. You get to ask yourself, is my process accurately mapped? Is it accurately documented as to what is actually happening in my business? Can the process be optimized or re-engineered to save time before we even look at intelligent automation? Who is involved in the entire process? Who are all the stakeholders? From IT to HR to legal, who is actually involved in this process that I'm documenting? And finally, what am I actually going to gain from implementing automation on this specific process? Is it a financial gain? Is it a time gain? Is it a customer experience gain? What is it that I'm going to be getting? This all makes up your business case for any of your IA projects. But let's focus on BPM for a little bit, specifically for accountants and financiers as to why it is so important. First and foremost, compliance. How do you make sure that your business is compliant? And what do you do when the auditors come around without your business processes in place? Cost effectiveness. How do you streamline your employee productivity when you don't know what they're doing or what they're supposed to be doing? How do you reduce customer service costs and reduce human errors if you don't document what your processes within your organization are? Time efficiency. How do you manage your macro level processes? How do you make sure that what you're planning in the boardroom is actually what your business is doing day to day? And finally, customer experience. This is just the result of having a good BPM strategy, is increasing your customer experience and making them want to interact with you because you are spending more time with them. From process, we lead to data, the importance of correctly structuring your data. And from there, we lead on to IoT. So let's start with the importance of correctly structured data. Having your data correctly structured is critical to make accurate decisions. Imagine your journal entries weren't correct. Imagine that this isn't actually reflecting what is happening in the business. All your financial performance and reports will then be incorrect. So the importance of this data is critical when we start intelligent automation projects. But when we talk about data, we talk about the Internet of Things. IoT, or the Internet of Things, refers to a technology that allows a network of devices to be connected to the internet to collect and share data. There are plenty of examples. Me, at the moment, I have 4 different devices that are currently connected to the internet. I've got my iPad, I've got my phone, I've got my PC, and I've got my wearable. These are all applications of IoT. Finance professionals need to think about how they can use IoT to better themselves in their organization. So how will IoT impact the accounting industry? Well, according to Gartner is an IT research company. They predicted that by this year, there'll be 26 billion connected devices, including an estimated 7.3 billion smartphones, tablets, and PCs. That's one for every person. So what does this mean for accounting professionals? Well, it means there's going to be an increased amount of data. Finance professionals need to understand how they can better make use of real-time data to make better decisions. Think to yourself, no matter your industry, what information can you be receiving to make better informed decisions and thus make better day-to-day decisions for your business. I know accounting professionals can sympathize with this one, reducing your order times. Think about the amount of time that you spend with stock take just to make sure that what is happening in operations is actually what's happening in the books. Well, IoT bridges this gap. Using IoT, financial professions can be directly connected to real-time operations. This reduces the effect of human error or fraud between real-time operations and what is actually happening in the books. And finally, optimizing performance. Proactive maintenance is an obvious one for IoT, but think about the positive knock-on effects that this can have for financiers. Put yourself in the position of any plane passenger who's experienced the pain of a flight delay due to unscheduled maintenance. You know how amazing the idea of an always ready, always present aircraft could be. What if this technology could be applied to warehouses, to cars in the field, or devices worn by employees? Accounting departments would have a better idea of how to allocate budget if they knew what was needed to be fixed. This also results in less downtime, higher productivity, and improved customer experience. So what are the benefits that the Internet of Things can bring the financial industry? The first is productivity improvement. This is a big one. Case in point is in StockTech. You can have IoT sensors, specifically RFID sensors, communicate directly with your respective ERP or financial system so that you know exactly what's happening and what's coming in and out of your environments. Predictive analytics. IoT sensors allow you to have access to historical information on what's happening on your factory floor to the point that you can build your predictive models accurately. Rapid response. Again, having real-time information allows you to react immediately to whether things are going right and wrong and what you can do about them. And finally, reducing human error. Again, I come back to stock taking. Think about what can go wrong when people are manually capturing what is actually on the floor or what is actually in your environment. IoT helps to reduce the errors when this happens. So what are the IoT global trends? How are businesses currently using IoT sensors to better their organization? The first is asset monitoring. When we refer to assets, we mean both physical equipment as well as property. People are utilizing sensors to know exactly what's happening with the machinery day in and day out, what's happening with maintenance, and how this reflects the depreciating factor on their assets. Having detailed customer insights, knowing customers' habits and behaviors. Think about how valuable this is for your financial models as well as for your marketing department. Case in point is in the retail industry or retail shopping centers. They are busy counting foot traffic at the moment to know exactly how much they need to rent respective spaces for and the value of those respective spaces. Wearable payments. Again, this is an obvious one that's currently getting used by the banking industry. Fraud detection. We go down to stock taking again. Think about how sensors can help in reducing fraud in an organization. And improvements in investments. Real-time market tracking for better decision making. Having access to real-time information can only but help in your decision making on a day-to-day. Now we get into the fun part of intelligent automation. This is robotic process automation, or better yet, RPA. Let's start with what RPA is. On the technical side, RPA is the configuration of a computer software robot to interact with digital systems and emulate human interaction to execute a business process. Sounds a bit technical. Let's get it into more the financial world. Simply put, a RPA is a macro except on steroids. So as you train a macro to work on an Excel document, so too you use an RPA bot to work across applications, from your Excel to your Word to text files to online systems. This is what a bot can do. The best explanation I had was a while ago when this gentleman explained an RPA bot as employing someone. You must treat an RPA bot as if you're going to employ someone into your business, except this person is a robot. This person can work 24 hours a day, 365, and perform highly manual tasks that are repetitive, rules-based. He will tell you he'll do exactly what you tell him to do. These processes need to be standardized. Again, we're going back to what we spoke about earlier, having your processes documented and standardized so that everyone knows what's going on. And everything must be digitized. This bot cannot read handwriting. This bot can read machine readable data. So we're referring to PDF documents, to Excel documents, to text files. This bot that you're employing into your business can do those things. And finally, it must be stable. Again, I compare it to as if you were employing someone into the organization. That person needs their computer to be stable, that person needs his internet connection to be stable, and he needs the specific application that he's working on to be stable. Yes, this might be more IT related, but when you're employing someone to the business, he or she cannot do their job without that application being stable. And this is exactly how I want you to treat the RPA bots. So what are the benefits? You've got this bot that can work 365 days a year, 24/7. He doesn't need a holiday. And one thing that I want you to keep in mind is that one bot, as a person, can perform many tasks. And this bot is very talented. You can use him in finance, in HR, in legal. So it doesn't always have to be just be in a financial department. It can be an interdepartmental robot. So what are the benefits? He's got a much improved accuracy. Again, he will only do what you tell him to do, or she, or it. It's highly scalable. There are fast cost savings. We realize ROIs in a month in some situation, but that is situation dependent. Increases your speed. A bot works a lot quicker than a human. It just is what it is. That's why for data capturing, it is so important. For the customer interaction, it's very important if speed is important to your business. Increased productivity. What we mean by this is that the people in your business that were performing these functions can now be reprioritized to be doing something that is more productive for your business, more strategic. Increase compliance. Think about auditing. Think about being able to go through all the data and not only parts of the data. This will increase your compliance. And one thing to keep in mind with this bot that you're employing into your organization is that he jots down everything that he's doing, task by task, so everything can be audited. So what are the RPA global finance trends at the moment? There are many. As we said before, finance and accounting is the first department that we start with whenever we enter into an organization because of the amount of repetitive, high-volume tasks that are happening. Let's start with tax, treasury, and compliance. The ability to prepare tax returns, tax accounting entries, and file tax returns and payments. That's stuff that no one really wants to be doing. It's very monotonous. That is where the bot can come into play. Case in point is a bot can log into SARS and file your tax returns, be it VAT, PAYE, or your income tax. A bot can do that. It can work on top of the application. Again, I implore everyone to understand that a bot does exactly what a human can do on a computer. Think about a bot working on the computer as you work on a computer. Financial planning, analysis, and reporting. Generating profit loss reports, cash flow preparation, trial balance preparation. You tell this bot what to do and she will do it for you. Audit management. We've been over this. Analyzing your risks, data gathering, and report generation. You can tell the bot to prepare a report for you every single morning by 7 o'clock when you enter into the office. The bot needs to send you an email with specific information that's tailor-made for your position or designation. And finally, again, I said it earlier, general business management, monthly payroll, recruitment. Your HR department can definitely use this bot to sift through thousands and thousands of CVs, which we have done before. And managing your travel and expense management. Have everyone in your business send all their travel expenses to the bot, to an inbox that the bot is monitoring, and she can then look at that statement and make sure that that information is accurately captured on your respective finance or ERP system. I will now be going into a video of a bot that is busy showing how to do the accounts payable process. Everyone always wants to see what a bot can actually do. All you're going to see is a bot working on top of the application and performing a function very quickly. In this case, we'll be using the tool that we use as Tangent Solutions, which is UiPath. Watch and enjoy.
Have you ever wondered what robotic process automation, or RPA, can do for you? In short, it provides a competitive advantage by helping you improve both accuracy and speed of operations while radically driving down costs. So how does it work? In this video, we'll show you how UiPath streamlines an invoice process end-to-end. You are about to see a robot performing the following activities. Monitoring a dedicated folder where invoices are saved in PDF format. Reading invoices from that folder one by one. Extracting key information from the invoices. Opening SAP. Filling in invoice details in SAP. Sending email notifications. Please note that the robot will do some activities in the background, such as most of the invoice-related actions, monitoring a folder or checking its email address. Now let's see it working. Right now, it's monitoring a folder where 3 invoices are stored and collecting all the information needed so it can register them one by one. It then asks the tester to introduce the email address where the posting notification will be sent, and also performs basic checks to see if the SAP is open and runs it on its own if not. Logging into SAP using its credentials, it then starts processing the invoices one by one. We can see it filling in data such as vendor code, invoice date, invoice number, invoice amount, invoice description, and GL account, and ends up by filling the payment term. Following that, it registers the remaining 2 invoices in the assigned company code. An email containing the SAP registration number is sent automatically by the robot after successfully registering each invoice. Checking in the background, the robot verifies whether the VAT on the invoice matches the one in our database, and if so, will post it automatically. Otherwise, it will park it and send a dedicated email to the responsible person highlighting this difference and asking what to do. Post the invoice or to cancel it and send it back to the vendor. All the invoice's details are visible in the email it sends, so let's reply with yes to the message for an invoice with a VAT difference. Finally, it will check its email address in the background, access SAP using the appropriate transaction code, and post the invoice. And that's it. The robot has successfully posted the 3 invoices in SAP. Do you want to know more? We're happy to help. Contact us here.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Instead of having to listen to my voice, you at least get to listen to some American voice talking to you about what RPA can do. And I hope it starts making more sense. I hope you have a feeling of what RPA can do for your organization and how an RPA bot actually works. The next topic of discussion will be artificial intelligence, AI. I know what you're thinking and I know what you've read. People have a misconception around AI. The fact that it's going to overtake jobs is just simply not true. I want you to think of AI as a tool that you can use to better do your job, do your designation, do your responsibility. Think about how you can use a tool to do that, and you'll start appreciating what AI actually is. So let's start with what AI is. On the technical front, it's a computer system that is able to simulate human intelligence. Again, I don't want you to worry too much. You have to program this. You have to tell it exactly what to do, and then it can start simulating it. But what is AI made up of? AI is firstly made up of identifying patterns through machine learning. ML algorithms can sift through vast amounts of data. And this is when what we spoke about earlier, IoT and machine learning can really work well with each other. Building those trend lines and identifying fraud or anti-money laundering. Being able to sift through all that information and picking out anomalies that's just simply fraud. The second is understanding communication, specifically natural language processing. Being able to communicate directly with a computer using words. That's simply what it is. The best example at the moment is a product called Amelia, which Tangent Solutions takes to market. This product can simulate a contact center. And when I mean simulate, I mean everything that a contact center can do with regards to inbound calling. When you call the bot, yes, you might understand that it is a bot, but you can talk to it naturally as if you were talking to a person. And this is the epitome of what NLP can actually be. And finally, computer vision. This is something that is part of AI. And there are 2 parts that are massively used at the moment. The first is around optical character recognition. Remember when you saw that bot in that video busy reading that document? That was using OCR scanner, and that's a part of computer vision. Being able to read a PDF document uses functions of AI. And the second part is marketing. I know we've got a finance crowd, but you must hear this. What the airports are busy doing, or rather the shops in the airports, is that they have a camera that counts every single person that walks by. And it's not just counting the person, it is looking at that person. It is understanding when that person looks at the screen, or not the screen rather the retail shop, how long they're looking at that retail shop, whether they're a man or a woman, and how old they are. Think about what the marketing department can do with that information and what you can do as financiers with that information available to you, so you can make proper proactive predictions. So what are some of the AI benefits? Definitely an improve in productivity. Think about those short little logical things that you have to apply your mind for. That is where AI can come in. RPA together with AI can really provide a lot of information for you and improve your productivity tenfold. Assist with decision making. Again, being able to sift through vast amounts of information and apply logic to it can only be valuable for a finance professional. Make personalization scalable. Every single customer that you talk to, with the power of ML, you can now understand exactly what their behaviors are and provide communication that's catered to them. Increase accuracy. Again, this just simply helps by going through vast amounts of information, learning from that information, and making sure that you are picking up the correct anomalies. Think about internal audit. Think about looking for fraud. Think about anti-money laundering. Think about how this can help in that space. And finally, identifying trends and opportunities. Again, we come down to being able to sift through mass amounts of information and data that is publicly available, that's also in your systems, and being able to do something with that information in real time and quickly and provide accurate reports so that you can do better decision making and build up trend lines and build up predictive analytics as to what is actually going on. So what are the global trends? What is AI? How is AI currently helping businesses? Derive insights from big data. Again, big data just means a lot of data. So being able to apply logic to vast amounts of data can only be valuable for a finance professional. Assist in the identification of fraud. Again, going through all this data. So when internal audit is going through data, it's not just 5% of the business. It is now 100% of the business. Enforce policy compliance. Quickly identifying non-compliance. Again, the ability to go through vast amounts of information simply helps here. Reduce menial tasks of employees. Think about the menial tasks that are busy happening in your organization. Think about your bookkeeping. Think about those facets of an organization and how you can use RPA together with artificial intelligence to make you more productive on day to day. Review contracts and documents. Again, this is where computer vision comes into play. You can use AI bot to read documents and supply only the valuable information to you and your organization. So let's talk about your intelligent automation journey. What are the aspects that I've spoken about that have really resonated with you? First and foremost, in your IA journey, we start with the foundation layer, business process management. This is made up of, as we said before, process mining, process discovery, process optimization, and process reengineering. I want you to go into your business and make sure that you have all your financial processes accurately documented so that you are first and foremost compliant, and so that you can start thinking about your automation journey. Only when you have all this properly mapped out can you actually identify opportunities for automation, and then we can start talking about artificial intelligence. Please, I implore you to look at this in your business. Next, we talk about that sexy thing called RPA, robotic process automation. This is when we can start applying automation. But again, we can only apply this once your processes have been properly identified and properly mapped out and re-engineered and optimized. Otherwise, you just have a lot of processes that are happening very quickly. As we said, when we start talking about RPA, in our experience with all the organizations that we have dealt with, the financial space is the first people that we talk to in any organization. Specific processes I wanted to think of is your procure to pay process, your accounts receivable and accounts payable. Think about that video I showed you earlier. General accounting, documenting everything, tax, treasury, and compliance. I want you to think about third-party systems that you interact with. Think about SaaS. How do you interact with SaaS? Can that not be automated? Financial planning, analysis, and reporting. What are those reports that you are painstakingly spending hours compiling? Why can't a bot do that? Audit management. Think about your auditing. Think about the amount and vast amounts of data that you have to sift through to get your answers. Can parts of that not be automated? Once you've gone through this journey and identified specific processes you can automate, now we can start thinking about logic. We can start thinking about those vast amounts of information and data and how we can do things with that information to provide more real-time information for you. And that's when we leap ahead. That's when we start talking about artificial intelligence, specifically machine learning, NLP, natural language processing, and computer vision. Where we found AI to help organizations is in transaction classification, exception identification, risk modeling, data modeling. Think about all that data that you have to sift through. Again, we talk about data structures. If you make sure that is correct, how can you now use machine learning to get the most out of that data? Valuable information that can help you with your decision making. Chatbots and customer-facing queries. Again, you can use chatbots that are talking to your customers directly, that are plugged into your back-end systems to extract information that is relevant to that client in real time without you even being involved. Think about how happy your customers will be with getting that type of information in real time. Thank you for your time, and thank you for spending time with me and running through how intelligent automation can help financial professionals on their journey.
Thank you for your participation in this webinar, and we hope to see you in the next one.